Hey everyone, it's Karen with Yes Please PaperCrafts. So this video is part of the Let's Get Organized YouTube Hop, where each month we focus in on a different area or item in our craft room, and we share ideas and tips on how we store and organize those items. So for this month, we're going to be talking about mixed media products, but I think you could probably apply a lot of these storage ideas and tips to other things in your craft room. So even if you don't do mixed media, you might find something useful if you watch this video. So before we get started, I do want to talk a little bit about the hop, and then also talk a little bit about my channel and give y'all some updates on that. So I created the Let's Get Organized YouTube Hop last year because I wanted to have more people in the paper crafting community that would join in and share ideas and tips on how they organize and store items in their craft room, because I think watching what other people do can really give you some help with trying to get your craft room organized. And so I just wanted to invite anyone that has a paper crafting YouTube channel. If you have a YouTube channel and you'd like to participate in this YouTube hop, please send an email to Karen@yespleasepapercrafts.com, and I will send you an email back and give you instructions on how you can join in on this hop. And the requirements for the hop is that you just create one video each month, and you do not have to participate each month. There's no requirement for participation. You can participate in one of the hops or all of them, just depending on if you have anything you would like to share. So each month we have a designated focus area in the craft room. Like for example, this month it's mixed media products. And so you can just pick and choose which hop you would like to join. I just wanted to open it up to anybody that's interested that has a paper crafting YouTube channel, because I think it's really fun to see what other people do in their craft room, and I really love watching organization videos. It gives me a lot of ideas and inspiration. So even if I don't take an idea from someone, I might take different pieces of that idea and use it to do something different in my craft room. So I think it's good to watch what other people do and then to take from them what works for you, because with organization, what works for someone might not work for someone else. Okay, so I wanted to give you guys a little bit of an update on my YouTube channel. You may have noticed that I have not been posting as many videos on my YouTube channel this year, and that's partly because I moved last year, and so I'm still trying to get settled into my new house. I have to say that I was a little bit traumatized by the whole moving process. So I've made some progress on getting my craft room set up and organized so that I can come in here and create projects and videos. But over the past 6 months or so, I've also been having some health issues. And so I think I've mentioned this a few times on my YouTube channel, but I do have lymphedema in both of my legs, actually from the waist down, which causes a lot of swelling and pain. And so I'm limited in what I can do each day. So I'm having that going on. And then I also have a problem right now with my right knee. I had knee surgery, I think it was about a year and a half ago. And after that knee surgery, I had some problems with the nerve in my knee. And so I had another procedure done where they burned the nerve. Unfortunately, well, it did make the pain go away for maybe about 8 months. But unfortunately, that procedure is only temporary. So the relief that you get from the pain is temporary. And so I'm going to be having that procedure to burn the nerve done again in, I think, next week. So hopefully that'll give me some relief from that pain, and I'll be able to get back into my craft room and do some more videos. But that's the reason why you haven't been seeing as many videos on my YouTube channel. Along with having the health issues, I have to say I've been a little bit depressed, and that comes along with having a chronic health condition. If anybody out there has had health problems and has a chronic illness, it's a struggle to keep your spirits up and to be motivated to get, to be creative and to do things like scrapbooking and card making. And even though I love doing those, sometimes it's a challenge to get myself into my craft room. So I'm really hoping that after my procedure next week, I'm going to be able to feel better so I can get back in here and start creating again. So that is what I wanted to mention. So there's a lot of videos that I have been planning to do that I have not gotten around to. It's on my list. I have a huge list of videos that I have been promising to create. And so I'm really hoping to overcome some of these health issues so that I can get back into my craft room and really start creating again. So hopefully y'all be seeing more videos on my YouTube channel. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the mixed media products. So a lot of the storage and ideas and tips that I'm going to be sharing in this video, you could probably use for other products in your craft room. So I don't think it's limited to just mixed media. And I'm going to start off by talking about different storage items and how you can store some of this stuff in your craft room. So the first one I'm going to share with you here is this bin from the Dollar Tree. It's called the Essentials Fridge Storage Bin. Is this bin right here. This bin is so awesome. I love this bin so much. And if you have the 𝐾𝐿𝐼 unit and you have the drawer inserts for the 𝐾𝐿𝐼 unit, you can fit 3 of these little bins inside of each drawer. So it's really awesome storage. Now, IKEA recently came out with another insert for the 𝐾𝐿𝐼, which is a wine or beverage organizer, and it has 9 compartments. And you can fit 9 of these into that storage organizer. Unfortunately, there is some limit on the height, so this would not fit into that because it's too tall, because these bottles stick up over the top. But as long as you have something that's short enough that doesn't go over the top of this bin, it will fit. And I'll share with you a picture here or a little video clip of how I have some of my ink refills and other things stored in my 𝐾𝐿𝐼. And let me just pull one of these so you can see. So we'll see. Let me pull a couple of them out. I'll pull a couple of these out here so you can see different things that you can store in here. So this is ink refills that I have for Stampin' Up! And so I just have all of these stored in there. And then I also have some mixed media tools. These are just like palette knives and, you know, just different scrapers and things like that. And I just have that all stored in there. I love using bins inside of drawers and also inside of other organizers because the more you can divide and separate, the easier it is to get to your stuff. Okay, let me go ahead and put these back. And then the other really cool thing about these Dollar Tree bins is that they only cost $1.25. They used to cost $1, but the price went up. If you can find these in the store, they are in the kitchen section. So it's actually kitchen storage. And you can find these online, but I think you have to purchase 24 or 48, I can't remember. You have to purchase an entire case. But if you have a lot of things to store in your craft room, that's what I did. I actually purchased a whole case and I use these everywhere. So they're really awesome. In my Dollar Tree store, I did hunt in the store. I would go to different Dollar Tree stores that were located around me, but I could never find these storage bins in my store. So I ended up eventually just going online and purchasing them. And you can have it shipped right to the store, and you can just go to the store and pick it up so you don't have to pay for shipping. And if you have friends that you can share it with, then you can just purchase a whole case and y'all could split it up. But that is the only downside to shopping online with the Dollar Tree, is a lot of the products there you have to buy an entire case of the products. Okay. So let's see, the next thing I want to talk a little bit about are things like this. So this is a bin that I have that I picked up from Michael's, and this bin is 2-tiered. So it has this 1 tier on top and then this at the bottom, and I have some glitter stored in here. But these containers from Michael's are really awesome. They also come in different colors. I think they have pink and like a light green blue color. This one is white. And you can see the size. They also come in different sizes. And what I like about this storage is that it locks in place. So if you're carrying this around, this lid does not come off. So the lid's really awesome. It has a handle, okay? And it's really nice storage. And what I like to use these for is to combine things together that go together that I might use to work on a project. And then I can store this in a closet. So this is really good. I have these stored in my craft room closet. So you could store things like all your texture paste or all your watercolors or all, you know, just anything that you have that you use. And then that way you can just go grab it from wherever you have it stored, bring it over to your table, and then you would have everything that you need to work on your project. So I think having things in bins like this is really awesome. And then I like that this is 2-tiered, because what usually happens is if you have a really deep bin, things just get jumbled in there and you can't see what you have. But having this with the tray and making it a two-tiered bin makes it a really good way to store things. And so I have that, and I store mixed media products in storage like this. Okay. And one reason why you might want to store things separately is, I'll give you an example. If you're working with alcohol inks, usually if you're working with alcohol inks, you would have, you wouldn't use watercolor to go with that. So if you wanted to just store everything that you would need to work on a project where you're using alcohol inks like blending brushes, just, you know, everything that you would use, you could store it in a bin like that. And then whenever you want to work with that particular type of mixed media, you could bring it out and you would have it available. Okay, so this tray right here, drawer, this comes from Michael's, and it's a 12 by 12 paper storage. It has 3 drawers. I'll put a picture up here on the screen so you can see this. And one of the reasons why I wanted to show y'all this one is that if you have mixed media products that are fairly small, like these shimmer paints, you could also do embossing powders, glitter, or just anything that's small like this. I actually have this insert in here, and I had been keeping these watercolor paints in a project case. So let me show y'all the project case. So this is the Iris Slim project case. It's for 8.5 by 11 projects. And I love these cases. You can store all kinds of things in here. And I originally had these shimmers paints stored in one of these cases. But I recently redid my craft room, and I now have an island in my craft room. And I put this set of drawers in my island. And because I love shimmers paints and I want to be able to use them more, I decided to make them more accessible and to put them in a drawer that I could easily get to, rather than keeping them in this project case. And so the project cases are really awesome. You can store ink pads, wood stamps. I mean, there's so many things that you can store in these. You can store your Nuvo drops, your glitter glues, all of that stuff. And I have quite a few videos on my YouTube channel where I shared how you can create inserts for these project cases. And I'll show y'all. I'm going to open this up. This one's being hard to open. And this insert is just created out of some heavyweight cardstock. And but it makes it to where everything stays in place. So when you're using this, when you're putting this away or moving it around, this stuff is not going to move all over the place. So I created the inserts, and it makes everything stay to where it's all organized and looks nice and pretty. So I really love that. So when I took my shimmers out of this case and put it into here, my insert was a little bit smaller because this case is smaller than this drawer. So what I decided to do was, I'm going to create another insert to put in here because I could actually get a whole nother row here. And the inserts are really easy to do. I do have a couple of YouTube videos where I shared how to create the inserts for the project case and also for some other stuff. But I thought I would give you guys some tips on how to make these divider inserts, because you can use these in a lot of different ways. In any drawer that you have, you can use this technique to create something to divide the different items that are stored there. Okay, so the way that I usually figure this out is I figure out, okay, here's the width. We have this drawer. It's 12 3/8 inches wide. That's what would fit inside of the drawer. And then for this insert, we have the divider part, which is the part that sticks up here. And then you have the compartment, which is this part down here, where you're going to store your items. So basically, you just need 2 measurements to make an insert. You need how tall is your divider going to be, and then how big is your insert going to be to store each one of the items that you have. Okay, so for this particular storage for my shimmers paints, I decided to use a 1-inch divider and a 1 1/4 inch compartment. So when you create this, I'm just using this really heavyweight cardstock, and this is a cardstock that I picked up from Amazon. It's 13 by 18 inches, which makes it really awesome for using for organization storage ideas, because it's much bigger than an 8.5 by 11 cardstock or a 12 by 12 cardstock, and it's a really, really heavyweight cardstock. So I cut this down to 12 3/8 inches wide. okay? And then I used my scoring tool and my scoreboard, and I scored 1 inch and then 1 inch. If you can see that, it's not picking it up, but I have 1 inch, 1 inch, and that makes your divider wall here. Then we have the 1 1/4 inch compartment, and then you're going to score 1 inch, 1 inch, which makes another divider. And then 1 1/4 inches is the compartment. So you're just going to keep doing that. And if your paper is not wide enough, you don't need to worry about that. When I got here to the end, you can just start, when you start the next one, you just want to do a 1 inch score. That's going to be the piece you're going to use to attach it to your other piece. So you can just glue this together here like this. And then you're just going to keep going on with scoring this. Each divider part would be 1 inch, and then whatever your compartment size is. And just keep doing that until you have enough to fit into whatever container or drawer you're making the insert for. So that's basically how you make these inserts. It's pretty easy to do. If you want to see more about how to do this, just go ahead and check out the other videos that I have on my YouTube channel, and I have a step-by-step and shared a lot more about how to create these inserts. Okay, so I'm going to put that over to the side. Okay, so there's all kinds of different ways that you can store your different mixed media products. And at one time, I had a lot of my mixed media products in a cart. And so when we had our YouTube hop on craft room carts, I shared my mixed media cart in that YouTube video. I'll put a link to where you can find that in the description below. If you like to use carts to store things, that's a really awesome way to store your mixed media products as well. I don't have it stored like that anymore because after I moved, I changed everything around. So one of the challenges with storing mixed media products is they come in all different shapes and sizes. So we have these really small containers like the shimmer paints. You have taller things like sprays. And then we have all kinds of different odd size things. We have some embossing paste. I have some gilding flakes, you know, all kinds of different things, and gesso, all things that are all different shapes and sizes. It can make a little bit of a challenge to figure out how to store these. I think using a craft cart would work, but I like to store things to where I can see them. So if you're going to put it in a Kallax unit or a bookshelf, you're going to have things that are hidden because you have shelves that are 14 inches or 10 inches. And so when you put these, either you're going to waste a lot of space on your shelf, or you're not going to be able to see what you have. So you could do something with that. You could put things into bins and then put it onto your shelf. I think that works really well. The other thing that I like to use to store things like this is to use some very narrow shelving. One of the things that I have in my craft room that I love is some very narrow shelving. It's a 𝐾𝐵𝐴 unit. It's really meant to go on the back of a door, but it got damaged when I moved from Texas to Louisiana in one of my moves. So instead of hanging it on the door hinges, I just figured out a way to mount it to the wall. And the shelves are very narrow, so it makes it a perfect place to store things like this. And I'll share some pictures of what that looks like. I have that actually mounted on the wall in my closet, but if you don't have something like the 𝐾𝐵𝐴 available, you could do something by just going to your home improvement store like Home Depot or Lowe's and finding something that you can make a narrow shelf with. And I see a lot of people making these types of shelves to store things like wood stamps or punches, but it would be really an awesome way to store things like mixed media products because you really want to be able to quickly and easily see what you have. So you can have these things stored like this in a narrow shelf. You don't have to have things in front of it. You can just have things, you know, this way so you can see what you have. So I really like to be able to, you know, see what I have, store something to where I'm not having a bunch of stuff in front of each other, because if you have stuff on a shelf where it's like this and you're looking at it from your from here, you're not going to see the stuff in the back, so things get lost back there. So if you're going to store things on a shelf in a closet or in a bookcase that has deep bookshelves, you want to probably use some bins, and that would make things more easily accessible to where you can find things a little bit easier. Okay, so now that I've talked about different ways to store the mixed media stuff, let's talk a little bit about organization. So I've been trying to do some things with my craft room where I have reference guides or swatches. And I've started with, I did do all of my Shimmer's paints. So I have all of my Shimmer's paints here. And I made swatch cards for all of my shimmer paints. And there's a couple of reasons to do this. With mixed media, it can be a bit of a challenge to use mixed media products because sometimes the color that it looks like when you have it in the container is not what it looks like when you put it onto your project. So I think it's really a good idea to take all of your mixed media products and create swatch cards, because by doing that, you have a good idea of what that is going to look like on your project before you put it on your project. Because I don't know, I've done this so many times. Have you ever had a project that's almost finished and you decide to add something to it and thinking it's going to look one way, and then once you put it on your project, you realize that it's not going to look like that, and then you're sad because it's not coming off. So I definitely think it's really good to create swatch cards so that you know what your mixed media products are going to look like before you actually use them. Okay, so the second reason to create swatch cards is that you can practice using your mixed media. So you can practice using a stencil and your texture pastes and glazes, and you can use that as a way to get familiar with it and to get more comfortable with using it. Because I think a lot of people are afraid to use mixed media products, and it is a little bit scary when you think about all the work and time that you invested into a scrapbooking layout, and then you add something to that and it messes it up. So it is a scary process. So it can be a bit of a challenge. And so I think by practicing and creating swatch cards, you can get more familiar with how to use your mixed media products and to get more experience and to get better at using them, so that when you do want to use them on a project, you understand how they work and how to work with them so that your project turns out the way you want it to. Okay, so my third reason for creating swatches is because you can do color matching. So if you have swatch cards and you're trying to work on a project and you want to find something, an ink spray or a watercolor paint or something that you use on your project, and you want to match the colors, you can use your swatch card as a visual representation for how that color is going to show up on your project. And then the fourth reason is you can use this to select your paint or your colors by using, like I have this sorted by color. So if I want a gold paint, I can just come here and I can look and see all the different ones I have, and I can pick one, easily pick one, the one that I think that I like the best, just by looking at these swatch cards. Okay, and then another thing that you can do if you're creating these swatch cards, if you have anything that doesn't show up on white cardstock, just use a black cardstock. I just recently picked up some new Color Splash sprays. This is a glossy acrylic spray from Shimmer's Paints. It's a new product they just came out with this year, and I did pick this up a while ago. I did make swatch cards of all of these, and it's a new type of product from Shimmer's. I wanted to see what that would look like on black. So I did create the swatch card with white and black, both. So here is the Gold Digger in white, and then the Gold Digger on black. Isn't that cool? And then we can see here, I'll just show y'all another one. Here is the, and I have these written on the back. So here we have the Sea Breeze on white, and then our Sea Breeze on black. So you can just get a better idea of how that is going to appear on your project when you're using it. Okay, so I can't remember which number I'm on. Am I on number 4 or 5? But the next reason that I have for creating these swatch cards is that you can use this as a reference for when you go shopping and you're trying to buy things for your craft room. You might want to look through this and think, well, I don't have as many greens, so maybe I might want to pick up a green one. And then you can also use this to make sure you don't bring in any duplicates, because you can look at this and say, well, I already have the Shimmer's Creamies Refreshment, so I shouldn't buy that one again. So it's also a good way to keep track of the different items that you have in your craft room and to help you with your crafty shopping. Okay, so I do have these available for different things. And at one point I did have more of the texture paste swatches. But after I moved, I can't figure out what I did with that. But so I just did one so that y'all can see this as an idea of how you would do things like texture paste and glaze. So this is a 𝗵𝗍𝗶𝗀 Rose Gold Glaze. I picked this up from Tuesday Morning a while back. And so what I did with that is I just took a stencil that I had and I stenciled this glaze on top of that down here at the bottom. Isn't that pretty? So you can see what that's going to look like on your project. You can use any stencil. And then I went ahead and wrote on the back of it what that was. And I'll be creating a book that looks just like this. If I can't find the one that I started before, I'll just have to do it again. I would have to say this is a little bit time consuming creating these swatch cards. So what I would definitely suggest to you guys, if you don't have swatch cards and you want to start creating them, is as you work on a project, just have these blank cards like this available and keep them on a ring binder or something. And then when you work on a project and you say, oh, I'm going to use this texture paste and I don't have a swatch card yet for it, because you have all of this out, you have your glaze and everything, you can just go ahead and create the swatch card for that particular one as you're working on your project. And then that way you can also work on your organization as well. And over time, as you work on projects, eventually you're going to build up your swatch cards, because just sitting down to make swatch cards, it's kind of tedious. It's a little bit boring, I have to admit, but it's very satisfying. Once you get all of this organized and you have all of these reference cards, it's really nice. So I did do all of my oxides. This is my distress oxides. And how cool is this that I have all of my distress oxides swatched. I haven't done the distress inks yet. I have a few of those, but I have done all of the distress oxides. And I just love having this as a reference guide. So if you want to do swatch cards, but you don't feel like you want to do all of them at one time, definitely just try to do it as you make your projects, because you already are messy. You have all of this out already. Why not go ahead and make the swatch card as you're creating? Okay, so I did want to talk a little bit about these products right here that are texture paste or glazes. You do have to be careful when you purchase things like this, and I'm going to give y'all an example of something that I did that I really regretted later. So Tonic Studios came out with the Nuvo Mousse, and my friend Judy and I went crazy buying all of this Nuvo embellishment mousse. We thought it was the best thing in the whole world, so we bought every color. The problem with this is that over time, these have completely hardened and they're not usable at all. So I might have used this once or twice, and now it's like hard as a rock. And there's no way I'm probably going to use this. And I did search on YouTube looking for ideas on what you might be able to do to refresh this, maybe add something to it to make it to where you could use it. And so far I haven't found anybody that knows how to do that. So I still have these in my crafting room because I would like to salvage them, but I don't know if that's going to happen. And I would have to say, you might think, well, I opened it, so maybe if I leave it closed, and then when I go to use it, I'll still have some use from it. Unfortunately, with this Nuvo Mousse, even if you keep it completely sealed and closed, it hardens and it's not usable. So I definitely would recommend that if you're going to work with products like this, with mixed media products, that you first would just buy one and don't be tempted to get all the colors of the rainbow. Just buy one. Keep it for a few months, 6 months, and see how that product lasts in your craft room. Because even though it's nice to have all of these different colors, if you can't use it within the amount of time before it goes bad, then you're just wasting your money. And this was not a cheap investment. This was probably $6 to $8 for each one of these. So that's a lot of money just to throw away. So I was really disappointed with Nuvo, with the Tonic Studios. I have to say that Judy and I did contact Tonic Studios at that point when we realized that all of our product had went bad, and they did actually send us new product. I think originally when they came out with this, the lids were cardboard. So inside of here, this lid part right here was cardboard. So I think they were thinking that because this was cardboard, all the liquid from the mousse was going up and getting absorbed into the cardboard. They changed their containers, and this is not cardboard anymore. But unfortunately, they didn't fix the problem. And they did send us new product, but that new product went bad too. So they did try. I have to say, Tonic Studios did try to resolve the issue, and I don't know if they're new, if they still have this product available, if they fixed the problem. I'm not really sure, but that's something I won't buy again. Now, you might wonder if any texture paste would last, and I have to say, yes, it does. It lasts for years and years and years, and I'm going to show y'all an example. This was one of the first texture pastes that I bought, and this, I think I've had this since before I moved from Texas, probably by at least 4 years. So this has to be maybe 11 years old, and look at that, 11 years old, and it's still just as good as when I purchased it. So not all texture pastes or these types of mixed media products go bad. I don't understand why the Nuvo Mousse does that, but everything else that I have in my craft room like this, for the most part, it can go bad. And you can see here, this is another example. Even this one though, it's still soft enough to use. It's not quite as creamy as it used to be. So it's lost some of its moisture, but this is 14 years old. So I don't mind that at all. Now, I would also recommend, if you're going to be using mixed media, texture paste, and things like that, one of the things you can do is to buy white. If you buy white, you can just mix other things with it and make colors. So if you don't want to invest a lot of money and get one of every color, just get the white one, and then you can add things to it. So for example, you can use water-based ink pads and just smush that onto your table and then mix it together. And let me kind of just show y'all how easy this is. So you can, let this be fun just to show you guys. Okay, so we're going to take some Distress Oxide Mermaid Lagoon. I'm just going to smush that onto my table. And this is actually a glass mat from Glassboard Studios. My mat is 36 inches wide by 24 inches deep. And if you're interested in more about this mat, I have a link to where you can find the Glassboard Studio in the description below. And if you use my coupon code, you can get 20% off. Okay, so then we're just going to add some of this texture paste here. And then I'm just going to take my palette knife and we're just going to mix this together. And it's kind of like making frosting. You know, you can add more, make it darker. You can add more of the texture paste, it'll make it lighter. The only disadvantage to doing this is that if you want a color match and you didn't make enough for your project, and you're having to start over, it's hard to match up your colors, which is why it's nice to have something like this, because you know the color is the same all the way through. This one is a little bit more of a challenge. So you know, you either need to mix enough that make sure that you're going to have enough to do your whatever you're trying to do. And a lot of times you might have a lot left over, and so you're kind of wasting it. But at the same time, you know, you're investing just in one jar of white, and then you can just use other things in your craft room to add the color. And even with things like the glitter, let's see, here we go. We have some Bo Bunny glitter paste. And this is a glitter paste. It's red, it has glitter, and it's got a color to it. You can even add glitter to this. You could, you know, kind of play around with the different things you have in your craft room to make your own glitter paste. So I would definitely suggest using just white and then adding things into it to make it colored. And then the other ones that I would recommend buying would be things like are metallic. Because metallic, you can't really add metallic to the paste because it doesn't really make it shiny. So for those, you can just purchase, this one is metallic gold texture paste. Again, this one is 14 years old and it's still good. And then we have here, this one here is metallic silver. So I think for things like this, silver, gold, anything that has a different type of sheen or shine to it, you might want to purchase those types of products. And then for your texture paste, just go white. And then add color to it if you want to do that. Okay, so I want to remind you guys to please go and check out everyone else's videos that is participating in this YouTube Hop so you can get more ideas and tips on how you can store and organize your mixed media products. I think that's pretty much all I have for this video. So I hope y'all got some good ideas. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up because it helps me to know what types of videos y'all like to watch on my channel. It also helps YouTube to recommend videos to other viewers that are interested in this type of content. And if you would like to see more videos and you're not already subscribed to my channel, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel and join my community. Okay, you guys, y'all take care. Hope y'all have an awesome week, and I hope to see you next time. Bye now.
What you doing, Miss B? Miss Bella? Did you not like your breakfast? What are you doing over there trying to cover that up, huh? What you doing, huh? Are you trying to cover up that breakfast? You don't like your breakfast? You got nothing to say? You are so funny. Well, that's all you're gonna get today, so you better go and eat it. Better go eat that breakfast. Oh, now you're gonna be mad at me? Oh my goodness. She's so funny. She's done this ever since she was a little puppy. We gave her some wet canned food, and it was salmon, and it had a fish, I guess it had a fish smell, and she proceeded to cover up her bowl with her blanket. So anytime she doesn't like what she's given to eat, she tries to cover it up. Huh, Miss B? You got anything to say? Miss Bella? Got anything to say, Miss Bella? Gonna come over here and talk to me? Come talk to me, sweetie. Bella. Miss Bella, you gonna come talk to me? She's quite upset. Bella. Come see me. All right.